Is Hornady's 175 grain Critical Duty FTX 10mm load any good? You're about to find out, so buckle up. Hi everybody, thanks for joining us here at the LocaCarnivore today. Today we're going to test Hornady's 175 grain Critical Duty 10mm load, and that's got their FTX bullet in it. We wanted to see how good this is going to perform against heavy-duty winter clothing, especially against a cross-torso shot. And this is how we test all of our self-defense handgun ammunition here at the LocaCarnivore, is with our Frost Giant gel test fixture. Let's show you a quick picture of how this works. Basically, we're simulating a cross-torso shot. Like we said, we've got a clothing pack of real winter clothing, not the pretend stuff that the FBI uses, denim and all that. Who wears that in the middle of the winter in the North Country? At any rate, you can see we have a cloth pack on the outside of what is the arm block, which is a crossways or a sideways turned gel block, and that will simulate the arm. And then we've got another block sitting the normal way, lengthwise, with two clothing packs simulating the inner sleeve and then the outer sleeve. So you've got clothing on the outside, clothing for the outer sleeve, you got the arm, then you have the clothing for the inside sleeve, and then the clothing that would be on the torso, and then you have the actual torso block. And we're looking for, in the torso block, about 12 inches of penetration for a passing grade, 10 at a minimum. We'd like to see 12. That's because on a large statured individual, which is what this simulates, a large human being, their chest cavity at the armpit is about 22 to 24 inches wide. Therefore, the math says you need about 12 inches of penetration to hit the middle of the chest cavity, which is where the heart would be. And that cross-torso shot is what keeps the FBI up at night. It is what caused them to completely redesign their bullet testing criteria. This 175 grain FTX load in the Critical Duty line from Hornady, it's been out for a while. Admittedly, we're not the first ones to the party, but we think with our exclusive Frost Giant test regiment, we're probably the first ones to put it through this kind of a rigorous test. And a lot of handgun bullets don't pass muster when it comes to this test. We're going to see if this FTX can do a good job. And the FTX bullets in other cartridges, calibers that we've tested, have done actually fairly well. So we've got high hopes for this thing. We'll show you the specs here real quick as far as muzzle velocity and muzzle energy on this load. And this is yet again one of the many, what I call the midweight 10mm loads that are on the market these days for self-defense, and they are not, super hot like the old Norma 180 grain bullets. Was it 180 grain roughly hollow points? Those were cooking along like 1,500 feet per second or something, 1,500 feet per second back in the late 80s, early 90s when the load first came out. So that was pretty hot, and everybody's pretty much toned those down, especially for self-defense, mainly because of over-penetration concerns. But like we said, we need a certain amount of penetration for our Frost Giant. We need that 12 inches into that torso block, so we've got to find that balance. And the FTX bullet is also supposed to be, with that plastic polymer tip on the front, is supposed to help the bullet defeat heavy clothing and other intermediate barriers so that nothing plugs up the cavity of the hollow point. And so that tip acts like a ballistic tip on a rifle bullet, and it is what initiates the expansion. So it doesn't have to come in, the cavity does not have to fill up with a hydraulic type medium like, flesh or something like that for the expansion to begin. As soon as something hits that tip with enough authority, the bullet is supposed to expand. So we'll see if it does that job too. Our test gun for today is going to be a 5-inch barreled Springfield Armory Ronin 1911 in 10mm, of course. All right, let's get down to the range and see how this 175 grain Critical Duty FTX bullet from Hornady in 10mm performed against our Frost Giant. Good hit. That was interesting. That rearranged the blocks pretty good. Get our cloth package
Better. Now that pushed the arm block rather firmly into the torso block. Thought that was interesting. All right, in order to get a little better view of the wound tracks in the gelatin after those tests out there on the range, we've brought them inside into the award-winning LocaCarnivore laboratories located at the sprawling LocaCarnivore headquarters complex. Now what you're looking at this point is from the top down, and we're looking at the 10 millimeters that we tested. We have the temp cavity from the 175 grain Hornady Critical Duty. That was that. We're going to look at the permanent wound cavities from the bullets that went through. This is a 380 from the other direction, so ignore that. Down below here, see if I can come up a little bit. Here is the 175 grain Hornady Critical Defense. And that is with the FTX bullet. You can see that there. We'll be pulling the bullets later. 175 grain Hornady Critical Duty 10 millimeter out of the gel. The nose plug was aligned exactly in the front. As you'd expect, it was still in the bullet. Excellent expansion. That FTX design seems to do very well, exactly the way Hornady claims. It is not defeatable by heavy cloth and stuff. It's got a little bit of cloth material. There's that plug material. That's a little bit of plug material. Yeah, got caught, peeled back. But otherwise, really nice. Excellent expansion. Not worried about the measurements, not worried about the weight retention. We just want to see what happened to the bullet, and more importantly, what did it do to the gel? We don't care what it has to do its damage. I mean, does it have to fragment? What's it do? You know, we're not worried about that. So there you go, 175 grain Hornady Critical Duty FTX bullet. Well, that was pretty spectacular actually when it hit the block. Did you see how it hit that block? Let's look at that again in slow-mo. Wow, look what that did. Look what that did. I mean, it just blew the clothing pack on the front of the arm block almost completely off and knocked the blocks around. I had to rearrange everything, as you saw. Pretty impressive. We have found that to be the case with most 10 millimeter loads that we have tested. 10 millimeter, it's in the place all its own. It's like 41 mag or 357 mag. It just slaps the holy bejeebers out of gel blocks. I forgot to mention real quick, we were using the Clear Ballistics brand gelatin blocks. I don't have anything with them. I just, I don't have agreements with them or anything. Just want to let you know what kind of test medium we are using as opposed to gelatin. We've had pretty good luck with this so far though. Hey, by the way, speaking of good luck, we would appreciate your help in supporting the channel. We do have a Patreon, links down in the description. Please go down there, show us some love. Also, while you're at it, go over to our LocaCarnivore.com website. While you're at it, make sure you click that store tab up at the top so you can get some fantastic LocaCarnivore merchandise. We'd appreciate your help in that area too. Hey, what do you think about this Hornady 10 millimeter load? Do you think it's a good load? Do you carry it? Do you carry 10 millimeter? We'd love to hear your story. Go down in the comments, share it with us, please. And speaking of sharing, please share this video. We'd really appreciate your help in that area too. Alrighty, other than giving a mighty great slap to the gel blocks, how did the 175 grain Critical Duty 10 millimeter actually perform by the numbers? Well, it didn't do as well as we were hoping. As you saw, the expansion was very good. It performed exactly the way Hornady designed it. However, our penetration was a little disappointing. Overall, total penetration, start to end, was 13.25, 13.25 inches. And into that torso, the critical torso, only 6 inches of penetration. So that's only halfway to where we need to go. And so it didn't do as well. However, it did a remarkably good job of generating a really nice temporary cavity in that arm block. So it began expanding as soon as it got into that first gelatin block. 3.25 inches long, temporary cavity by almost 9/10 of an inch, 0.875 inches in diameter. Very good. So a very dynamic, a lot of energy transfer as you saw there. However, once we got into the torso, we were just down to the expanded bullet diameter, and that's the wound track that it made into the torso block, all, the rather mediocre 6 inches.
While you're at it, don't forget to give us a big like on the video. We'd appreciate it. We want you on the LocaCarnivore team, so go ahead and subscribe. Ring that notification bell so you'll get notified every time we have a new video. Our bottom line on the 175 grain Critical Duty 10mm load from Hornady is we can't recommend it for winter carry. We would consider it a marginal load because of that lack of penetration into that torso block. Now on a frontal penetration it would probably be fine, but we always look at the worst case scenario. And as Forrest Gump liked to used to say, life's like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you'll get. And that is true, especially in a gunfight. So you don't know what presentation your assailant's going to give you when you break that shot to defend your life. Now, is it a bad load overall? No, not at all. In fact, it's a very good load if you want to carry 10mm. It's probably a very good load for 3-season carry, spring, summer, and fall, because it's probably not going to give you excessive penetration like some 10mm loads on the market can do. So it is good from that standpoint, and it has, as you saw, fantastic energy transfer. It would be okay in winter, like we said, marginal for winter, but we can't really recommend it. So there you go. Hey, thank you for spending your valuable time here with us at the LocaCarnivore today. We hope you enjoyed the video. We hope you learned something. And remember, you can always learn at least one thing from everybody you meet. So pay attention. Thanks for watching.